Okay, this is probably going to be the toughest challenge of all. What's up guys and welcome back to my channel. I'm Anik, I'm a classical pianist, and today I'm going to face one of the most requested pieces, which is Mazeppa by Franz Liszt. Is it actually called Mazeppa or Mazeppa? I think it's Mazeppa. Wait a second. Mazeppa. Wow, terrible. Mazeppa. Okay, I was right. Now, as you know, I was mainly concentrating on all the Chopin etudes, so I actually never really played any of these Liszt etudes. But let me know in the comments if you have ever played this specific one or any of these other transcendental etudes. Transcendante? Études d'exécution transcendante. To my French community, let me know in the comments how well I pronounced it. Now the game is basically that I have 1 minute, 10 minutes and 1 hour to practice a piece, and after every practicing session I have to try to perform the piece just the way it is in that moment. Now if you don't know this piece, I would totally recommend you to listen to it on Apple Music Classical, where you can not only listen to this piece but also learn a lot about that piece and Franz Liszt and other composers and actually everything around classical music. Apple Music Classical is an app that is actually only created for classical music, which makes it so much easier to discover, to find, to search for classical pieces, even if you don't know anything about classical music. And I'm very happy to collaborate with them on this video. I often had the experience that sometimes when I was searching for classical music, it was very difficult to find the right title, the right artist, the right composer. Like, everything was just difficult. But with Apple Music Classical, it's so much easier to not just search and find the stuff that you're actually looking for, but also it's so much easier to discover new things that you've never heard of before in classical music. And I swear, there's a lot to discover. This app is not only designed for professional musicians, but actually for everyone. So even if you are not into classical music yet, this app helps you to discover classical music without any knowledge about it. I don't want to spoil too many features right now, but if you are interested in that, go and discover it on your own with the link in the description box. Now, without further ado, let's break some fingers here.
Fatality.
Let's start. Okay, let's try. Okay, that's another level of difficult. Okay, like always, the first minute does not really count. But let's talk about all the things that I was practicing in these 10 minutes. Aber der will, dass ich das hier, ist es von dem? Sind die Fingersätze von Liszt? Ah, fingering by composer. Okay. So first things first, I wanted to figure out who wrote the fingering, because it's always important to see if the fingering that is written inside the scores is by the composer himself or by anyone else that just, you know, edited some fingerings for the editor here. In this case, the fingerings that are written in my scores are actually the ones from Franz Liszt, which is very important because it shows you a lot about how the composer wants it to be played.
Huh?
Most of the time I was practicing slowly. I sometimes tried to speed up a little bit here and there to see if I can already speed up, but honestly I couldn't. It's just extremely difficult to play this piece. In the first 10 minutes of this 1-hour practicing session, I wanted to cover the full page, so in total I practiced 8 measures. This says a lot because if you watched the other challenges that I played so far, most of the time I managed to play much more, like several pages sometimes, but in this case it was just way too difficult. I started to practice with different rhythms and groups, which always helps me to increase my muscle memory. Especially in a piece like that where I already know that I can't look at the scores all the time because everything's just going to be way too fast to look at the scores and the keys simultaneously. I figured that probably I will have to memorize this part that I picked for today. So muscle memory plays a huge part in memorization. However, muscle memory is not everything, and you should not only rely on muscle memory. So I also analyzed this part on the harmonical structure, which is going to give me kind of a map so I know where I am and what I have to play, and you're not thinking about each note individually anymore. However, memorizing things does take a lot of time, and today I don't have so much time, so I got really stressed because I just felt like things are not really secured in my memory, especially not in my finger memory, so yeah, that was pretty tough. By the way, on Apple Music Classical you'll find not only biographies, but also you'll find some information about the most famous works of different composers, and also about these etudes. I didn't know that he actually worked so many years on these etudes to write them and rewrite them, and in his very last stage he gave them all these poetic names, so it's not like a name that someone gave it to these etudes, like many people give Chopin's etudes different names, but in this case really Liszt gave these names to these etudes. And for Mazeppa there's something really interesting written here, which I would like to read to you. Famous example is Mazeppa No. 4 in D minor, based on a poem by Victor Hugo about a captured Cossack tied naked to a wild horse, which is set free to gallop across the plain. I think that describes the music perfectly, and it makes so much more fun to listen to this piece and play this piece when you actually know all these background information. Alright guys, this was the challenge for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely did. Not so much my fingers though. If I had to rank this piece from 0 to 10 in terms of difficulty, I would totally put it on a 12. Like, that was freaking difficult. Let me know in the comments which other pieces you want me to try out in the next challenges. Don't forget to check out the link to Apple Music Classical in the description box, and we'll see us in the next videos. Bye.